Hi everybody, it's just me tonight. Today's video is going to be a collab with a couple other channels. So Mercy from MercyDavis has put together a testimony collab with a few other channels. So today's video should be posted along with Mercy's husband James from MercyDavis is going to be doing his testimony as well today. Charmaine from Mommy Maine, she will also be giving her testimony today. And then Troy from At Home with Troy, she'll be giving her testimony too. So I'm going to link all of their videos, their channels down below. So make sure you go and check out their channels as well, because I'm sure that they'll have some really good testimonies for you guys to listen to. We love all of these channels, and they're just a great bunch of people. So make sure you go and check out their channels as well. So I was asked to give my testimony, and I'm going to apologize ahead of time because it's late. It's about 10:30 at night right now. I just got home from work a little bit ago, and I've been really thinking about this today as far as how to start this. And then this verse came to me, and I think I'm just going to roll with it. So it comes from Proverbs 3:5-6. It's trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. It's a very common verse. I think most people would know it. But it has a lot of special meaning to me. So I'm just going to start, and you'll kind of see why. So I grew up with 3 brothers. My parents raised us in the church. We were what looked like on the outside. We were the ideal Christian family. But that's pretty much where it stopped. We looked good and we did the right things, but when you got behind closed doors, that's kind of where it was at. And I grew up thinking that meant you were a Christian, that you were a follower, and that you were saved because you went to church, you were a good person, and that was pretty much it. So my parents divorced when I was about 18, and my brothers and I just kind of started going off into the world on our own without having a really good foundation, because our parents didn't do the praying with us, didn't do the preparing us, didn't do discipling us and raising us up to be men of Christ. So I met Jessica when we were 18 years old, and thought I was a Christian, thought I was a great guy because I'd gone to church my whole life. I was baptized at 10, and started pursuing her, and we got engaged. And I found very quickly, not knowing it, but I didn't know what it was going to mean to be a husband and to be a father that I was supposed to be. And so our relationship started off without me truly understand what it meant to be a follower and what it meant then to model those things for my wife and for my family. I grew up, work was very important. You had to succeed, you had to be the best, and you had to do this and you had to do that. And so we weren't raised to trust, and we weren't raised to be patient on God. We were raised with a very strong work ethic, and a lot of times that turns into not leaning on God, but trusting in your own self to do things. So I took that into our marriage, and we found quickly into our marriage that there were struggles. And a lot of those struggles were things that I wasn't prepared for because my parents hadn't prepared me. They hadn't, told me that it was going to be tough, and that, that being a husband meant certain things. And so in the beginning of our marriage, it was a struggle because not only were we newlyweds, but then, as most of you guys probably know from our previous videos, I'm a police officer, and at a young age in our marriage, I went into law enforcement. And so that added a whole other realm of stress into this marriage and this relationship that we had, because I wasn't leading my wife because I didn't know how to. I didn't see it growing up. I didn't see it modeled. And so I didn't know what that was. I thought because I paid the bills, I thought because I was a good, I was on the other side of the good side of the law, that I was good. I there should be no concern about me because I'm good. And so this was a struggle for several years in our marriage, because I didn't know how to lead. I didn't really have a desire to lead. I hadn't seen it. So we just kind of went through life, and I never really was seeking God. I never was seeking to grow closer to God. I never was desiring for that, because I would always try to fill the desire that I had for something with professional gain or with something else. And I struggled with looking for God because I thought I could fill spots in my life with other things, which then puts a bad effect on Jessica and her being able to follow God and follow Christ, because her husband's not even modeling it. How is she going to do the same? So as we were married for several years, there were several times I truly believe God was trying to get my attention and gently get my attention. I won't go into all the details, but at a young age, a tumor was found in my spine. I was out of work for several months. I had to have a huge part of my spine fused together. Looking back now, I believe God was trying to slow me down. He was trying to get me to focus, trying to get me to turn to Him for strength, which I didn't do, of course. I leaned on my own understanding, and I leaned on my own strength. I was in a couple really bad car accidents, and by the grace of God, very minor injuries. And once again, I believe God was trying to get my attention to turn to Him, which didn't happen. I just continued on this assumption that because I believed there was a God and I knew the Bible, that I was okay, that I was saved. Then we just did the video about Karis and the NICU and how she was born and what a blessing and a miracle she is. At the time, none of which I really attributed to God trying to work in us and get us to turn to Him. Most of that time leaning on my own strength and own understanding instead of turning to Him for that need. God finally got my attention back in 2019. In 2019, I was working as a police officer and started having really bad sciatic pain, excruciating pain. And finally, after just trying to deal with it myself and not really do anything about it, I finally went and I found that I had herniated 3 discs in my lower spine, and that one of them was pinching on the sciatic nerve. Doctors tried all kinds of things to try to alleviate the pain, but nothing worked. And eventually they decided they were going to go in and do a discectomy, which is just basically fixing the disc. Just minor surgery. I had planned the surgery. I had decided, I had exactly enough leave time to recover from the surgery, and I'd be back at work, and I'd be back at it, and not a problem. I was going to take care of this. And that's where my real story begins. Because the first week after my discectomy, which was going to have a 3-month recovery time, that same disc reherniated worse than the first time for no reason. And they had to fuse those vertebrae together, which meant I was going to be off work for at least another 3 months. And looking at everything on paper, based on the 3 months first and the time they get me into surgery for the second one, and then the extended, we weren't going to be able to pay our bills for a good portion of that. And I had no idea where the money was going to come from. And I was, for the first time in my life, absolutely terrified because I was broken. There was nothing I could do. I had to 100% rely on everybody else for everything. Not only was I physically broken, but mentally and emotionally, because I am the man and I'm the supporter, and that's what I assumed that meant, I wasn't gonna be able to do that. And so I was just broken. And in that brokenness was when God finally got my attention. And I shouldn't say God finally got my attention. I finally paid attention to what God was saying. And he was telling me, this is what it took for you to stop. This is what it took for you to listen. That I want you. I don't want your work. I don't want how good you can be. I don't want any of that. I want you. And I want your attention, and I want your affection. And I was just destroyed because I realized how much of my life I had spent trying to be the best version of what I could be, appearance, without truly understanding what it meant to truly know God, what it meant to truly follow and to be a follower of God, and thus what it meant to lead my wife and lead my daughter. And that is it's a wonderful experience. At the same time, it's terrifying and amazing because you serve a mighty and a merciful God, and he will never just walk away. And I look back at my life and how many times he could have just walked away, that I wasn't being obedient, and I wasn't looking for him, and that I wasn't following, and I wasn't leading my wife, and I wasn't leading my daughter. And he could have just walked away from me and said, I don't know you. But he doesn't. He doesn't. He continues to pursue you. He pursued me for years and years and years, and I didn't want to pay attention. And then he finally got my attention. He finally got my attention. And that's where I'm at today. I'm a broken person, but I know who God is. I know who Jesus Christ is, and I seek to follow him above all else in my life. So I like to end it by saying, it's not my testimony, it's God's. And that's not the end of it. every day there's a new part of your testimony that gets added to it. So that is just the beginning of mine. So thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you go check out all the other videos that we mentioned, Charmaine, MercyDavis, and Troy at home. Make sure you go check them out. I love you guys. God bless you. And please, if you have any questions or you'd like me to go into any more detail about any of the experiences I had, this is just very brief. It's already longer than I was thinking, but please just comment and let me know. Okay? I love you guys. Bye-bye.